What's good, YouTube? Flash Speaks back for another video, man. I've been sitting here all morning trying to get together this app that allowed me to live stream this game. I want to do the USA men's versus France today, and also want to do the ladies tomorrow. I cannot find the right app to allow me to just put a damn scoreboard up in there and have the camera looking at me so I could talk to y'all while the game is going on. Hopefully, I have it figured out by 3:30, my people. But listen, we're gonna do a little bit of WNBA right now. WNBA is coming back, I believe, next week. They'll be starting the games again late next week. I think the Chicago Sky's first game will be against the Phoenix Mercury. And I actually think the Chicago Sky have a good chance of winning that. You talk about the Mercury having three of their main players, three of their best players over in France right now, looking to play tomorrow night. So I don't know when they get back. I don't know when they'll be ready to get back training. I don't know what type of condition they'll be in to have a first game. Probably was that Thursday. So I think Chicago Sky, who have been together during this time in training and back in the lab, have a good chance to really jump on some tired Phoenix Mercury players. Let me know what y'all think about that. But anyway, Draymond Green and Baron Davis. You know, Baron Davis is the great point guard who used to play for the Charlotte Hornets and I believe Golden State as well back in the day. They both weighed in on the Rookie of the Year talk between, of course, it's boiled down to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And they had some interesting comments. Want to play those and chime in on it.
Welcome to the brand new Draymond Green Show YouTube channel. Hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our content.
And I know I'm just being petty. So do you think Caitlin Clark should have been now? No.
I think Caitlin Clark should have been on the USA team.
Bro. I think so too.
Because
I think it's good for the brand.
It's great for the brand. And we talk brand any other time. Let's not act like it don't matter now.
Oh, man, it matters.
It
makes
matters.
the most sense.
100%. If you think about what, and by the way, if you think about what the 1992 Barcelona team, Dream Team,
Right.
did for the brand of basketball.
Yes.
The W is still are still in those phases of the NBA,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
the NBA during that, the W is there.
No, that's not true. This is a stupid argument. First of all, why is this still being talked about? Caitlin Clark being on the U.S. Olympic team that's trying to win gold. All right, why is this still being talked about? Secondly, the ladies that are on the team, especially those like Breanna Stewart and others, and definitely Brittany Griner, who have played overseas, are more known overseas than Caitlin Clark is because they've played overseas. Diana Taurasi is known more overseas than Caitlin Clark. Why do they make this argument? Right? I've talked to people personally because I know people who live overseas. Okay, I'm a guy. I've lived in Egypt before. I've been in Russia. I've been in England. I've been around. Okay, I know people that I've talked to. They don't know about Caitlin Clark like some of you liars think. They really don't. All right, that's false. That's hogwash. But those who watch basketball over in those places, they have many WNBA players who go after the season and play in those places. What makes you think they would not know those players more than they would know Caitlin Clark? That's number one. And number two, they keep talking about branding. Branding what? What are you trying to brand? You're trying to brand the WNBA. All right, so you do that by sending the best players over there to play. The only thing that's missing from people watching in terms of numbers are people who only watch Caitlin Clark. All right, those are the only numbers missing, and they are a set group of people that we all know about very well, who have a very straightforward way of looking at things, who have a very delusional understanding of basketball and a very delusional opinion of who Caitlin Clark is in the overall grand scheme of things. Of course, when they come through, numbers will increase. Of course, when they come through, viewership increases. Why? Because they are a set group of people who all they care about is Caitlin Clark and they don't care about basketball. All right, but if you're talking about branding the WNBA, this cannot be done with just one player or even two players. Of course, we could talk about the rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. That's something to talk about because that is a real thing. All you have to do is look at the numbers. when these two individuals play each other, it gets more numbers than other games. That's real. However, in order for the W to truly grow, they have to market all of the teams. Really, that's what I believe, marketing teams. But players, you have to market all the players. And you have to market the best players. If you send Caitlin Clark over there, and let's say she's not ready to deal with the physicality. You've heard all of these different players talk about the physicality. From Jackie Young, who recently talked about it. Talk about the different. She loves it because she's physical. All right? Griner talks about it. All these different players talk about how different and physical it is over there. And if you've watched those games, you see that it is much more physical than the way they're playing here. So if you take Caitlin Clark, put her over there, and run the risk of her not playing well, then what? Then what? What do you think? You thinking players and overseas are going to be as delusional as Caitlin Clark fans here? As Caitlin Clark fans here, what they'll simply do is just blame, the coach sides. They blame Boston. They blame Mitchell. They blame Wheeler. They blame everybody. Whereas on the U.S. Olympic team, there's no one to blame. My belief is she would have been exposed over there because her game, unless she's really going to step up and just be a catch and shoot player, they're not about to give her the ball, let her control all the action over there on a team like that, stacked like that. When you got Sabrina, when you got Chelsea, you're not about to give Caitlin Clark the ball and have everybody else set screens for her and run around for pick and roll catches and in lobs or women's, version of lobs. You're just not about to do that. So I don't understand it. I really don't.
So it must be about spreading this globally, and she's the biggest global star.
Man, we should have
in women's basketball. And
yeah, that's a lie. She's national. She's not global. She's not global. I've talked to too many people. She's national, not global.
And listen, I think the women we got over there, I think A'ja Wilson. I think A'ja Wilson's going to be the GOAT. But, just from a pure branding and marketing standpoint, Caitlin's the biggest. And so for her to not be on the team.
Angel Reese should have been on the team.
I agree.
Think so, because
for her not to be on the team, Angel Reese not to be, I think for what they're doing for women's basketball,
bro.
That should matter. And by the way, what they showed you in this half a season is that I'm going to be one of them ones.
I'm one of them ones.
So it's okay
already
to bet on me right now because I'm going to be one of them ones. Angel Reese is leading the league in double-doubles and broke the all-time record. Caitlin Clark is leading the league in assists on a historical pace. They've shown you we're going to be one of them ones.
In the first half of the season,
so
bro.
You can make that bet on me. It's cool.
All right. Though what they're saying is kind of true. Both of these players, if you just look at the raw numbers, are having historical rookie seasons. It's very rare that players come into the W and do what they're doing as far as numbers. However, it also has to be noted that both of them have a higher usage rate and they play more minutes than rookies typically do. So I'm not so sold on the idea that they're just necessarily the most talented rookies to ever come in and necessarily the best. However, because of the circumstance and the situations they both find themselves in on teams that needed them to do what they're doing, they are both having historical seasons.
Yeah.
I think they should. I just wanted to say that because I had never chimed in. I just think we miss a golden opportunity.
Sure.
To really extend the women's basketball brand. Not saying it's relying on these two, but just the attention that they get brings attention to everyone else.
Who won the WNBA MVP?
Well, who are you talking about? This is what I'm still looking for. I need someone to explain to me, all right, how that happens. Right? They both go over there. They're not about to start. They're not about to be the most impactful players on that team. All you have to do is look at that team. They're not going to be the starters, not going to be impactful. You have situations where Kahleah Copper can hardly get minutes. Kahleah Copper, who averages over 20 points a game, who is a finals MVP, has a ring in the W, is hardly getting minutes. Angel Reese will be behind both Stewie and A'ja Wilson. Then how do you justify Angel Reese being there over Nneka Ogwumike and others? But even besides that, it's they're not ready for that. They're not ready. Right? And before any of you come on here and tell me because they won because of the you know, the WNBA versus them, then that's only an argument that says maybe, you know, Rike should have been there and maybe Agumake should have been there. It wouldn't go for Angel or Caitlin.
Asia Wilson.
Last but not least, who wins Rookie of the Year?
I'm a point guard, so I'm going with Caitlin Clark. I'm a point guard. I like how, I like watching Caitlin Clark play because I like seeing great passes. You know what I mean? I like the art of passing is everything to me. You know what I mean? That's why I like Steph so much because he do so much other shit.
For sure.
And like that's where I be appreciating the game. You know what I mean? Just like the artistry, the wizardry. And I think that's what Caitlin Clark got. That's why
This got me wondering if these guys actually watch the games or if they only just watching highlights. This is what makes me wonder, because if you're watching the game, I think you would be forced to look at more than just great passes and so on. You'll be forced to look at defense, be forced to look at like situational ball and stuff like that. But I know many people, that's what they do. They just watch highlights. I'm just wondering, it makes me wonder if that's what Barron is doing here.
that's why I watch her.
So I'm gonna go with Caitlin Clark because I think whichever team gets into the playoffs is the player that's going to win it, and I think her team is better.
Yeah. She got a squad.
All right. Now, there's nothing about Draymond Green's answer makes any sense. He said that he's going to go with Caitlin Clark because he believes that the team that ends up going to the playoffs should win it, and her team is better. All right, so if her team is better, then how does that make what she's doing more impactful than if someone with a team that isn't as good gets there? And it's likely that both will make the playoffs because both are positioned to do so. Nothing about his answer made any sense. So it makes me wonder, like, is it really his sincere answer? It probably is, because a lot of these guys don't really watch the games, and they just watch, they look at numbers and watch highlights. And then they don't look deep at numbers. They don't really look at PER. And Draymond Green, I'm kind of surprised at him because you really look, there's a lot of comps between his game and Angel Reese's game. Honestly, you're talking about a power forward that can bring the ball up at times, that rebounds, plays defense. If there's one thing Draymond Green does do well, is that he's a average to above average passer. You know, if he's playing with great players, then also I would say he's an excellent defensive player. Why he would go with the player that doesn't play defense at all is kind of questionable. Whereas Baron Davis, I don't know what he's talking about. I think he's just looking at highlights and said, "Damn, I like the way that looks," as opposed to that.
They do. They had the number one pick 2 years in a row.
Nah, for sure.
Should be decent.
They
both can play.
Yeah, and it's tough, bro. Like, you coming into a league, you adjusting, you move, you got a whole new life.
And they just finished playing a month before they started. 2 weeks before
So it's just gonna take some time, but I do like Angel Reese. She a dog.
She
you know
is.
what I mean? She a dog, and she like one of those transitional big men that you need them both, because it's just gonna start bringing light to all the dope young ladies that's out in the W that's killers. You know what I mean? There's so many killers, and like they got game. I think just the attention I'm here for. You know what I mean? I'm tuned in. I'm tapped in. But I do feel like the Liberty may win it this year, bro.
The Aces is winning.
Now, you know for a fact that he's just looking at highlights and looking at who's tops in the standings to say that. Now, not saying that the Liberty doesn't have a chance, but anyone who's really paying attention for real, they know that the Aces are just a better team, honestly, when those two teams meet up. Though, hey, look, Liberty does have a legit chance. They do.
I was at the championship last year, Aces and Liberty, and for some strange reason, I feel like the Liberty were not that far behind. Even though Asia was dominant or whatnot, I felt like the Liberty had it. They could have.
All right, my apologies. What's his name? Oh my goodness. My apologies, Barron. He said he was there last year. I respect that. I wasn't there last year, nor did I watch last year. So I'm going to be real here. Okay, I give him respect for that. He watched.
They could have really, challenged them better. They could have been the people.
The Houston Rockets was once not that far behind, and then they got further behind.
Yeah, further.
So just because you one time, Memphis Grizzlies at one point one step far, and then they got further behind.
Yeah.
Like when you get your window, when you get your chance, you gotta get through that and see the Aces.
That was a greasy thing to say because there's no comp between the Houston Rockets and Memphis Grizzlies and his Golden State Warriors teams because, like, come on, New York is still young and they still have the best record this year. It isn't like they fell off, and they actually have a better record than the Aces this year. So I mean, while I get what he's saying, I don't agree with that comp.
That already got through, so they were already champions.
Yeah, they had the chance. That's what got them over the edge.
Liberty, you still ain't got through that window, and you don't always. Now look at the Connecticut Sun.
It'll be Aces and Liberty.
I don't know. The Connecticut Sun rocking, and you don't get through your window.
Man.
That window closed.
Nah, I got the Liberty coming out. I got a rematch. And plus, we need this rematch, man. We need this rivalry.
Hey, are you not playing bat?
All right, so yeah, I'm gonna listen to this guy. So this is the thing, though. This is really what helps grow the game. Is like podcasts like this where these guys are talking about it. I like the fact that they're at least sitting around, and talking about the W. Like you talk about the NBA. That's really how you grow the game. That could have been done before Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese came. Because while I wasn't watching the W, I would watch podcasts like this, and then I would hear what they're saying, and then maybe that makes me want to see. That's the thing. Promotion is everything. Promotion is key, man. A lot of people haven't researched why the W actually fell off. It wasn't so much that it was a bad product. It was more so because they lost television rights that they had back in the day. When it first came out, people were interested. People watched. Some of their biggest numbers were back then, the inaugural season and so on. Men were watching, women were watching. But what happened was they lost the television sponsorship and they lost the TV deals. When that happens, now I got to go search for the games, and people aren't necessarily doing that. So that had a lot to do with it as well. But they've had magnificent talent since then that have come through. But what was lacking was the promotion, and this is what helps the promotion. These guys having these women on their podcasts, and you get to know them, and then when you get to see their game, it's good. And all of you, man, who Angel fans and Caitlin fans, especially Caitlin fans, you should watch these other games, man. You should watch. You should be watching the Olympic Games. That's ridiculous. That you aren't. I guess you weren't the type that was going to watch anyway. That's probably the case. Like, all you do is watch Caitlin Clark. And all you do is watch the numbers. I had a guy come on my feed, I think it was yesterday, the other day. Oh, their watching is down 33%, and I couldn't wait to say that. I'm like, clown, you are a loser, bro. Like, spreading that information you're a loser, man. That's what you are. Like all you cared about is whether or not Caitlin Clark is being watched. Sad, bro. As if ain't another damn watchable player in the league. Players that are better. That's why I emphasize she's nowhere near the best player in the league. And if you had any brain, you would have saw that during the All-Star game. Really, if you had a bigger brain, you'd see that during the season. But I guess you don't really watch other games, and then when she gets smoked by the opponent, like when she got smoked by they shuts her down 2 for 9. Y'all are so dumb. You just say, well, she scored 17 points. Nigga, that wasn't against Dejanay, that was against the others. Right? You don't recognize, okay, that's a good player too. Damn, who's that one? Let me watch that one. You don't do that. All you'll care about is that one player. And that's why the league cannot, they can't appease y'all. And they shouldn't. They should use her, yes. And also, have her play against the better players, and you got to promote those other players. Because what you need are real basketball people in order for the league to have staying power. You know why? because every single player comes into the league and then they're going to retire. What happens when Caitlin Clark retires? Who's to say she plays 10 years or 15 years? I've seen so many players come in, like Grant Hill. There was a time I believed this dude was going to be the GOAT. All it takes is one injury. God forbid, but that's all it takes. Penny Hardaway, I thought was going on his way to being the greatest point guard after Magic Johnson. I was sure of that. Injury, he's gone. Tracy McGrady, John Wall. How many great players, number one picks, and high picks, and franchise guys come into the league and don't get to play 15 seasons and 20 years like Diana Taurasi. So the league cannot plan for their whole promotion behind one person. You can't do it. You have a whole league to consider. You have 12 teams. The other teams want to make money too. And yeah, the TV contracts are nice and all of that stuff, but you'll get an even bigger contract if you got more than one great player, or more than two great players, or more than two or three marketable players. And there are many marketable players. So there you have it. Draymond Green and Baron Davis both picked Caitlin Clark to be Rookie of the Year. And there you go. So, peace out.